The Skrulls are finally here. Captain Marvel has finally introduced us to the alien shapeshifters known as the Skrulls. They can look like anyone they want, and anyone out there could secretly be a Skrull. While Captain Marvel took an unexpected turn with the Skrulls, we think that we're still going to get the popular Secret Invasion storyline from the comics. We have some ideas on how that story could happen and what it might mean for the future of the MCU. But before we get started, if you haven't watched Captain Marvel yet, there will be spoilers. When Marvel Studios first revealed that the Skrulls are coming to the MCU, fans couldn't have been happier, and then ever since, everyone has been speculating on which Avenger might be revealed as a secret Skrull spy, and when we'll see the Secret Invasion storyline on the big screen. The Skrulls made their debut in this year's Captain Marvel, and while at first it seemed like the Skrulls were going to be the bad guys of the movie, fans got a major twist as it was revealed that the green-skinned shapeshifters ended up being allies to Captain Marvel. While we think the twist was pretty cool, many fans couldn't help but feel disappointed by the idea that the MCU Skrulls are the good guys. Seriously, we really loved Australian actor Ben Mendelsohn as the smooth-talking Talos. The guy clearly had lots of fun playing the character, and good for him. But the big question is, how does having good guy Skrulls affect a possible Secret Invasion movie? But what is the Secret Invasion anyway, you might ask? Well, you're in the right place. The Secret Invasion is a major crossover storyline from the comics that included the whole Marvel universe. In the story, the Skrulls invaded Earth and then used their shape-shifting powers to replace a bunch of heroes with Skrulls spies. Something that caused shocking twists and then major trust issues for many characters. We think there's one main reason why Marvel Studios avoided teasing the Secret Invasion in Captain Marvel. The film came out just before Avengers Endgame, and Marvel Studios probably didn't want to set up a whole new threat in the MCU while the current major threat, Thanos, is still going around. We're sure that, in Phase 4, we might start seeing the Skrulls being teased as villains. All it takes is one post-credit scene where one of the heroes enters a dark room and shapeshifts into a Skrull, revealing that the Secret Invasion is underway. And we think we'll be getting something like that in the next few years for sure. In a recent interview, the only man in Hollywood that's allowed to wear a hat with a suit and still look cool, aka Kevin Feige, spoke about the possibility of the Secret Invasion, and he hinted that it's very likely we'll see it happening in the MCU sooner or later. He added that, just like humans and the Kree, there are good Skrulls and then there are bad Skrulls. We're pretty sure Feige isn't one to say stuff like this without a 10-movie plan already in place. Having more morally ambiguous characters is always fun, and doing that with pointy-eared, green-skinned aliens is very smart. It could allow for far more engaging stories that go beyond something as simple as Skrulls are evil shapeshifters, so punching them is cool. While Talos and the other Skrulls we saw in Captain Marvel ended up being on the good side, it's clear that the Skrulls are far from being squeaky clean good guys. Talos did say that the Skrulls did some nasty stuff in order to survive. At the end of Captain Marvel, Carol left Earth with the remaining Skrull refugees with the hope of finding them a new home, which is a somewhat of a happy ending for the Skrulls, but we don't think this is the end of their story. It's possible Captain Marvel found the Skrulls a planet that they can call home, but we don't think that she spent all these years with the Skrulls. Carol vowed to end the Kree Skrull War and stop the Supreme Intelligence. Even if Captain Marvel was successful in finding the Skrulls a new home, we think that the Kree Skrull War had long-lasting effects on the survivors. Think about it. The Skrulls are a race of shapeshifters, and it's a bit hard to trust aliens who can just transform and look like anyone they want. That type of rejection by other races could have made the Skrulls fear for their safety, and it eventually turned them hostile towards other races. War is a terrible thing, and it brings the worst out of people. For a long time, many Skrulls knew only one thing: the war against the Kree. The endless fights for survival might have done irreversible psychological damage on many Skrulls. Those extreme Skrulls might have taken over, pushing aside peaceful Skrulls like Talos. For them, the only way to survive is to control their own fate and never again face extinction. If the Skrulls come into contact with heroes from Earth, they might feel threatened. After all, many heroes have great superpowers and advanced technology. This might cause the Skrulls to turn their attention to Earth, with the hope of getting their hands on the power and technology that humans have, so no one will ever dare try to threaten the Skrulls again. This could give the Skrulls a lot more depth. This is a race without a home that was nearly wiped out. They were brought to the brink, and that caused extreme hostility among the Skrulls. They're outsiders who could never be part of any society due to the superstition of their shape-shifting abilities, and because of consistently being afraid of extermination, the Skrulls might be forced to take an offensive approach. Now, this is different from how things played out in the comics, but that can be expected. When Marvel Studios adapts stories from the page, they usually adjust the stories a bit to work better with their films. We already saw some major changes for the Skrulls in Captain Marvel, from how they shapeshift, how they gain the memories of those that they impersonate, and more. We might find out that there's already some Skrulls on Earth, hidden and living among us. It'll be interesting if we find out that most Skrulls left with Captain Marvel back in the 90s, some have stayed behind, either because they felt safer on Earth or because it was part of their mission. When you think about it, back in the 90s, people on Earth had no idea that there's aliens out there. Even Nick Fury was skeptical about the whole concept when he first met Carol. This makes Earth the perfect place for shape-shifting aliens, who can simply replace anyone they want. It's likely these sleeper agents stayed behind in order to infiltrate important organizations, waiting for a possible Skrull attack in the future. While Talos trusted Captain Marvel to find his people a new home, maybe some other Skrulls weren't so fast to put their faith in a former Kree soldier. If some Skrulls have been living on Earth for over 20 years, we can get some major revelations about characters we know and love. There's a good chance we'll find out that some characters who have been a part of the MCU since the very start are Skrull sleeper agents. Many fans have theorized that James Rhodes, aka War Machine, is actually a Skrull.
Okay, what?
If we're being honest, there's no real proof of that, but it could be a great twist, if only to see Robert Downey's shocked and surprised face when he finds out that his BFF is actually a green-skinned alien. Rhodey has been around since the very first Iron Man movie, and he could be the perfect sleeper agent. Captain Marvel was set in 1995, so that's 23 years before Infinity War. Don Cheadle, who plays War Machine, is in his 50s, so that could mean Rhodey was in his early 30s back in the 90s. James Rhodes could have been replaced at any point in the past 2 decades, and he's a good disguise for a Skrull. Rhodey was a pilot in the Air Force, and he ended up being a high-ranking member of the military, but more importantly, Rhodey is Tony Stark's best friend, a good target for the Skrulls even before he became Iron Man. Not only that, but Rhodey got his hands on an Iron Man suit, and he later became War Machine and ended up joining the Avengers. Looking at it from the Skrulls' perspective, that's the ultimate ploy of a secret agent who infiltrated some of the most powerful organizations on Earth and got close to some extremely powerful and resourceful people. If War Machine ends up being a Skrull, it could not only be a major plot twist, but it could really be a major blow for the Avengers. Rhodey knows a lot about the heroes, information that could be crucial for a successful Skrull invasion. So we're putting it out there that War Machine is a Skrull. We might be wrong, but until we're proven otherwise, we're right. Plus, if Rhodey is a Skrull, we think the proper name for him is Skrull Machine. Get that one trending. But just because Rhodey might be a Skrull doesn't mean he's evil. That's the interesting thing about the Captain Marvel plot twist. It shows us that not all Skrulls are evil, so it'll be interesting to see Skrull Machine actually helping the Avengers during the secret invasion. Of course, there are other characters who could be revealed as Skrull spies. The whole "who do you trust" tagline from the comics is really the alluring thing about the secret invasion. It's a lot more than just another alien invasion. The thing that makes the secret invasion so interesting is the fact that anyone could be a Skrull. That's something Captain Marvel set up really well. In the movie, we see a scene where Carol finds herself in a train station after chasing a Skrull. As she looks around, she understands with dread that any one of the people around her can be the Skrull that she was chasing, and that's a terrifying notion. The Secret Invasion movie could be a real thriller, where everyone and anyone can be a Skrull. Heroes could turn on each other, distrusting each other, and going on a witch hunt, not knowing who's a friend and who's a shape-shifting foe. It could completely change the landscape of the MCU as we find out that the heroes we knew for years are actually Skrull spies. Just looking on the potential of the Skrulls, there's no way that the great minds in Marvel Studios will skip the secret invasion. This is a story that's simply too good not to be done on the big screen, and we're sure Marvel Studios is already working on ideas on how to bring this story to life. Just remember one thing, people. Hashtag Skrull Machine. Make it happen. What do you think about the secret invasion storyline in the MCU? Who do you think's gonna be revealed as a secret Skrull spy? Let us know in the comments below, and if you like this video, we'd appreciate it if you like and subscribe to CBR. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video.